Cornhuskers and the Oklahoma Sooners.
NCAA Football 06 is considered by many, including myself, to be the greatest college football video game ever made. While NCAA Football 14 always got the most attention after the series went on hold for a decade, considering it was the final game in the series for some time, 06 was a more complete, polished game. But 06's predecessor, NCAA Football 05, was also an incredible game, one that feels overshadowed not only by 06, but also by 14 and even by the hyped return of the series with College Football 25. It came out during arguably the greatest year ever for sports gaming, 2004, where you had Madden NFL 05, MVP Baseball 05, NBA Live 05, ESPN NHL 2K5, and so many other great sports titles releasing, making it easy to accidentally ignore NCAA Football 05. But this game had the greatest gameplay we had ever seen in a college football video game up to that point in time, as well as a deep Dynasty mode, excellent presentation, and a ton of cool game modes and customization options that go under the radar and surprisingly aren't available in the newest college football games from EA. This was the first college football game to have crowd pulse for home field advantage, custom celebrations, the hit stick, Pontiac classics where you could experience moments throughout the history of college football, and so much more. Back when every sports game offered an elite package, NCAA Football 05 delivered a masterpiece. This was, until a year later at least, the greatest college football video game ever made, and a top 5 football video game period. Even today, if you're looking for something different, it holds up quite well. And while it isn't a perfect game, it's pretty close. Let's take a deeper look at what made NCAA Football 05 so special. One of the best parts of games like NCAA Football 05 is that they let you experience the thrill of college football without actually getting hit. Just like how Fishing Clash, the sponsor of today's video, lets you go fishing anywhere, anytime, without needing a boat or all that necessary equipment. It's so quick and effortless to get into, you can play Fishing Clash while watching the big game, while doing the dishes, while sitting outside. I'm even playing Fishing Clash while editing this video. We've broken the fourth wall. I've been playing through the first couple of chapters, and Fishing Clash has surprised me. Not only is the gameplay really fun, but it feels like real fishing. Guess what? If you download Fishing Clash for free using my link in the description or pinned comment, and enter my code SOFTDRINKTV, you'll get a $20 reward and a unique avatar. That's code SOFTDRINKTV. Make sure you use it when you log in. If you're worried about hitting a paywall, rest assured that I wouldn't do a sponsor for an over-monetized game. You can progress steadily and earn rewards just by playing for free. While you can optionally buy boosts to speed things up, the game is fun and competitive either way. Yes! Dude, boss fight. The Mad Dog. That feeling of catching a new rare fish is incredible, and it's actually a pretty deep game, featuring over 60 real-world locations you can unlock, each with unique fish to catch and collect, including elusive monster fish and vibrant tropical species. It's effortless fun, with simple controls that are easy to learn and master. Join 50 million players and download Fishing Clash for free today by clicking the link in the description or pinned comment, and don't forget to use my code SOFTDRINKTV for that free bonus. Thanks again to Fishing Clash for sponsoring this video. Now back to NCAA Football 05. The first thing you'll notice when booting up NCAA 05 are these nostalgic video clips showing different schools around the country. The main menu has that iconic look all the EA Sports games had from this era, and you'll notice there are a ton of game modes here as well. One popular mode missing, however, is Road to Glory, the career mode usually found in college football games. This wouldn't be added until a year later with NCAA 06's Race for the Heisman mode, but the game makes up for it with plenty of depth elsewhere. Create a school was a fantastic feature. All without leaving the game itself, you could create a school name, change the logos and colors, even pick your rival school, your fight song, which includes every fight song in the game, as well as 10 generic ones, and even a mascot. You then design the stadium, from the name, to the type, to the press box, to the 25-yard logo, and more. The depth here is crazy for 2004. You then design your uniforms, and you have a new created school to use in any game mode, not just Dynasty. I miss these simpler times that ironically gave you more options. Create a Sign was also in the game, where you could design a sign that fans would hold up mid-game. I love this pre-online era, where you could type anything into the game as well. No profanity filter here. This game even had AA rosters for FCS teams. Rosters back then weren't fully licensed, and instead each player was somewhat generic, but roughly based on their real-life counterpart. You could go and edit everyone's names if you wanted to, but by default they were named QB number 4 or RB number 21. This is pretty well known, but with the new college football games actually getting licensed athletes, this might throw off younger players checking these older titles out for the first time. For Dynasty mode, you could have the game auto-generate random names for every player, which is what I usually did. Of course, you could also import draft classes into Madden, which was a crazy cool feature. The game even had historic rosters to edit, which you could use and play now. Historic teams were awesome back in the day, and are an old feature I constantly am forced to bring up in these videos since we haven't had historic teams in a football video game in over a decade. NBA 2K has them, however, although you could argue it's easier to get licenses for a smaller roster size with basketball teams. Regardless, if these newer titles hold player rights in Ultimate Team, those same players should be used to fill out historic teams, or even a moments type mode, with generic players filling in the rest of the roster. In NCAA Football 05, Pontiac College Classics was an iconic game mode where you could choose between classic college football games and recreate them by jumping into key moments. Being able to go back and experience these scenarios was an amazing feature that helped teach younger players about the history of college football rivalries and matchups over the years. This is what sports video games were meant for. Mascot games were available, which were dumb and cheesy matchups between overpowered mascots for each school. Everyone loved this mode back then, especially if you played against a friend who came over. It's a gimmick, but a novel one. Create a Playbook sadly did not include Create a Play, but it did allow you to make custom playbooks using plays from different schools. That is a knock on the game though. The strongest downside to going back and playing these older football games is the outdated playbooks. A proper Create a Play feature lets a game live forever, as you could theoretically recreate modern formations and plays. This is a feature I hope returns to EA Sports games soon, as it used to be a staple for Madden titles. The best mode in NCAA 05 was obviously Dynasty mode, which got a lot deeper coming from the excellent NCAA Football 04. All of the features from the year before remain, such as the Sports Illustrated covers that would change each week showing top players, along with some cool new additions. Disciplinary actions gave you the ability to suspend players for their off-field decisions, adding some realism to the mode. Your top player might start skipping class, and you'll have to decide how you want to deal with it. Recruiting took place after the season, where you look through a detailed prospect list and try pitching your school to them based on prestige, which was a new addition, location, and playing time. This game also introduced the point system for recruiting, where in-state prospects cost less points to scout or pitch to compared to guys across the country. 05 was also the first college football game to include the athlete position, so you could recruit athletes that could play multiple positions, and before their freshman season you would set their main position yourself. Dynasty mode would get even better with NCAA 06, but the mode is still great in 05 and full of depth. Playing through a season and then importing the draft class into Madden 05 was one of the best features in sports gaming, letting you see which players from your dynasty became successful NFL players in Madden. On the field, this game took some massive steps forward for the series. The gameplay was almost perfected, and would become perfected with NCAA 06, but the two games play very similar. Coming from 04, 05 took major steps forward with new motion capture tackling animations, the introduction of the hit stick, improved blocking especially on sweeps and counter run plays, and improved CPU AI. However, compared to NCAA 06, there are a few downsides that weren't cleaned up yet. First, drops were a major issue. Drops happen way too frequently in this game, which does make it more challenging, but it can get pretty annoying, and is a major reason many play 06 over 05. Defensive backs also bat too many passes down. Performing well on offense is more difficult than it is on most PS2 era football games made by EA, but that could be a positive for someone looking for a throwback challenge. The most iconic new feature was the Stadium Pulse. Now, for the first time in a football video game, home field advantage had an actual effect on gameplay. Not only does the crowd roar louder than ever when the away team is trying to snap the ball, but the away team players lose composure, your controller vibrates, the screen shakes, and your quarterback will have more trouble calling audibles or hot routes due to the crowd noise. This was a major innovation that made the game feel more alive and similar to the real thing. The composure feature was pretty cool here, as it not only was lowered by the crowd, but it also could rise if you complete consecutive passes or get on a roll. However, if your team starts making bad play after bad play, such as drops or inaccurate throws, their composure will continue to drop, making it even more difficult to get back on track, which is similar to real football. After a big play, you could now celebrate with custom celebrations. You had 3 choices for a few seconds after a big play: a player, mascot, or crowd celebration. If you chose an extreme celebration for a player, he might do something like taunt the opposing team, but this can result in a penalty flag, making it risky but fun. I haven't seen a feature like this in a long time, as user celebrations in modern games have zero effect on the game itself, so for 04, this was really cool. The commentary team of Brad Nessler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Lee Corso is solid and nostalgic, although their lines get repeated a lot. This is how all PS2 sports games were, so for the time, it wasn't much of a knock. Jerseys got dirty as the game went on, player models in stadiums and lighting looked solid, and combined with the new presentation features and the retro soundtrack, you have a game with very good presentation for its time. Despite a few minor issues, NCAA Football 05 was a deep, complete college football game with some fantastic innovations, such as the Stadium Pulse we all know and love today, iconic game modes like Pontiac Classics and Mascot games, which are really fun to revisit today, and the core gameplay itself was just really smooth and solid, although challenging. This game set the foundation for what many would consider to be the peak of the series and the greatest college football video game ever made in NCAA Football 06. But 2005 was still a masterpiece in its own right, despite being overshadowed with the passage of time. If you're looking to play an older college football title and want to experiment with Dynasty mode and importing draft classes into Madden 05, NCAA Football 2005 is easily worth picking up and trying today. Once again, thank you to Fishing Clash for sponsoring this video. Download and try it out for free by clicking that link in the description or pinned comment, and use code SOFTDRINKTV for a $20 reward and a unique avatar. Thanks for watching.